So I thought, whilst on a lunchtime walk, what better time than to quickly cover the CIRIA C790 code of practice, because it's a question we're asked a lot, and I thought a quick video would help clear things up about what slots in where, what each stage actually involves. So it's 6 stages to property flood resilience. Stage 1 is a hazard assessment. So this is the risk assessment to look at types of flooding that might impact the property, the depths that might occur. Is there a warning available? What's the onset time? Is it river flooding? Is it surface water, etc.? Stage 2 is a survey of the property. So that's to identify construction type, condition of the brickwork, what the flooring is. Are there any other factors, like is it listed? Is it in a conservation area? As ultimately these will feed into what's possible. That the survey should also look at routes of ingress, and then following on from that, you've got stage 3, options, development and design. So this might be quite simple if it was something like you just wanted to look at some flood barriers and what the depths might be and some backflow protection. The options, development and design might be quite limited, but this stage can actually vary in length quite significantly depending on what you want to achieve. If you wanted to build a flood wall, perhaps, you would then need a CCTV drainage survey, you'd need some structural calculations, you'd need to calculate what water you were displacing, you might need consent. That's all in that stage 3. The same applies if you potentially were considering a new drainage scheme, maybe a SUD scheme. You'd need to do a feasibility study as part of that, some calculations, some modelling. And so stage 3 really can vary in length. Also in that, it might be identified that backflow was a risk, but to determine the right backflow measures, you might need a drainage survey to identify all of the drainage runs and make sure the right measures are proposed. So the next step, stage 4, is construction. So this is actually the installation, building of the measures. So it might be building the flood wall to the design, it might be fitting flood barriers, it might be installing non-return valves. Step 5 is the commissioning and handover. So that's actually handing over to the client, making sure they're trained. And then stage 6 is all about operation and maintenance. So making sure there's ongoing maintenance so that these measures work. There's no use building a flood wall if in 20 years' time it needs repointing, it hasn't been done. Equally, a sustainable drainage scheme is going to need maintenance. A flood barrier is going to need maintenance, particularly a flood door may need quite a lot of maintenance. So all these aspects need considering. This is the 6 stages. We're quite often asked, people who say, oh, well, I know the risk, I just want a non-return valve. But ultimately, you should still follow the process in an ideal world to make sure you're coming up with the right mitigation. It's usually not as simple as just fitting a non-return valve. You need to know where it should go and what type and what the lifetime risk assessment of that is. Is it accessible? Is it maintainable? And actually, is it in the right place? So hopefully that gives a quick explanation to the code of practice, why it exists and why we should try and follow it. Thank you.